Welcome back, everyone, to our Coach Career Breakthrough Summit. Today's our Coach Open Day. We've got a bit of a special session for you right now. Now, some of you have probably seen Dalmatians fly across your Instagram page, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, thinking, what's all this about? Well, this is a new platform that Jamie here, we've got the mind behind the platform. So this is your opportunity to ask questions. Jamie Fletcher. So please do use the comments box, ask questions, be curious, put it in the box. Jamie, welcome. Would you like to give a brief introduction of yourself so everybody gets to know the man behind CoachDog?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. So, yeah, myself and Paul, we're the co-founders of CoachDog. So I'm the technical brains behind the operation. Paul's definitely bringing the coaching knowledge and insights and really bringing me up to speed. And one thing I wanted to say as well is that I'm really enjoying learning more about coaching as well. Certainly when so over this last couple of months, this last 6 months or so, I've learned so much about coaching, just engagement with you guys, and it's been really informative and educational for me. So thank you for all of the guys that follow myself and I'm following as well. So it's been great. So yeah, like I said, I'm the technical director and co-founder of CoachDog. When you are engaging with someone behind the scenes, normally it's myself, sort of helping work through any little bugs we might have and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, we're glad to be sort of, I suppose, launching CoachDog and speaking to you guys today and sharing what the platform's all about. So yeah, to give you a quick sort of overview of what we're hoping to go through over the session and what we want to get out of it. So we're looking to give you an understanding of what CoachDog is, who it's for and why we created it. Also setting up and maintaining your account as well as a coach. How to navigate CoachDog as like a user, a client, and also as a coach as well. So it is very much for both sides of the coaching industry, and the benefits of using CoachDog as well. So before we kind of get into the weeds and really get into detail on CoachDog, though, just want to give you a little bit of backstory, take a little bit of a back pedal, just so you can understand myself and Paul, our relationship, and sort of how we've sort of come to bring this CoachDog to yourselves. So myself and Paul, we were best friends growing up in school. So Paul moved to the northwest of England, close to where I was situated. We were at the same school together, and as soon as we met, we just got on well, didn't we? And we just clicked straight away. Two young teenagers just having a laugh. Just we really enjoyed that period, and it's certainly a period of my life I'm really fond of, and glad that
weekends were just centered around football. Now weekends were just centered around football and playing football, watching it, everything. Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was. They were definitely the good old days, and I really enjoyed it. And and unfortunately, just due to family circumstances, Paul had to relocate. So we naturally just drifted apart over the years. Still kept in touch. We've always had that bond, and we've always stayed in touch and made sure both doing okay, and families well. But like I said, it was just periodically, just as and when we could, and life took us in different directions. And I suppose to kind of bring it back to where we are today. So it was around 20 years, wasn't it, Paul, in terms of our sort of from where we had originally met, sort of a 20-year reunion period. So I've always followed Paul on social media, and we decided to reconnect and just catch up, see where we were in life and what was going on. So as part of that sort of conversation we had, really good couple of hour conversation, wasn't it? Really
about 3 hours now?
it was a really good conversation, and basically I just shared where I am in my journey, some of the apps that I was developing at the time. I think I was building some good stuff, but didn't really have that purpose and that vision and something I was passionate about. And Paul, for being as passionate as he is about the coaching industry, and he's definitely making me a lot more passionate about it now as well. Sort of had some, some of his own ideas about, how we could use software and platforms to improve the industry. I didn't have previously someone he could trust to help bring that vision to life. So it was really through that reconnection that CoachDog was born, and actually through that trust and that relationship that we've had over the years, it was bringing together us both our mutual skill set and building something which is hopefully going to be transformative for the industry and really help out the industry in terms of ethics and standards, and hopefully from my perspective, bring coaching into a good light, and which certainly is. But there's unfortunately there are things like scams and things which we want accredited coaches to be front and center, and bring and really lift up the profession. And so I don't know, Paul, if you've got anything additional on top of that, and I know you wanted to talk to CoachDog, what the idea around it, and the Dalmatian itself as well. So I don't know if you've got anything else to add to that.
No, there's a few things I want to bring in what you said, Jamie. I just want to remember back as well, just go back to our story. I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with this, and please do share in the comments. If you do have a friend that you went to child with and you had that connection, reach out to them again and see what comes. Because I think, Jamie, we always had that kind of entrepreneurial mindset, no? You used to in school, 13-year-old, 12-year-old were buying bottles of different pop and stuff and water, and then sell them on in school after PE and things like that. We always had that idea of business and talking about business in the future. It was really some brilliant times. And going on what Jamie was sharing, so I see Adele's tuned in. You're not catching the end here. We're just actually starting. So you're just tuning in at the right time, Adele. So thank you for being here. But one thing I just want to add to what you shared, and it links back to what I was saying. So earlier on, I did a whole presentation on our profession, some of the ethical concerns, and I pulled up some statistics. So I want you to keep these statistics in your mind today. Is that if you go to LinkedIn, it's said that there's 4.7 million coach profiles on LinkedIn. That's people that are using the word coach on their LinkedIn profile. Only about 100 to 123,000 coaches are accredited. So you are a small bunch in a big ocean, and CoachDog has been designed, as Jamie mentioned, to put you at the front of that ocean. We can get drowned out by the noise, drowned out by the scams. There's so many negative stuff that's happening in our industry that's tarnishing the beauty of coaching, the professionalism of coaching, and CoachDog's designed to counter that. But not just for the benefit of the coaches and to showcase the coaches there, but also to put pressure, put protection and security of the clients. So when the clients come onto the platform, and James is going to talk about all this in more detail, when clients come onto the platform, they know that they're going to be accessing a safe, trusted, and credentialed coach. And just quickly, Jamie, the last thing I want to mention, you talked about the Dalmatian. Everybody's seen Dalmatians come across. Myself and Jamie, we had a couple of discussions around the name. We started with Coach Verified, a few standard stuff that kind of did what it said on the tin. And then the whole idea of maybe putting an animal in because it helps with the branding. It needs to be recognized by clients, recognized by coaches, gives us a little bit of creativity to play with. And we came up with the idea of CoachDog, and we didn't know this, but when we actually researched the word CoachDog, it existed as a word, not as a brand, but as a word. And what it actually used to be, historically, coach dogs used to run alongside horse and carriages to protect the people or the treasure or whatever it is that were carrying the contents of the carriage from thieves and bandits. And that kind of story just kind of stuck with us, Jimmy. It kind of made sense and aligned to what we're trying to do. Because essentially now, CoachDog runs alongside coaches and clients, protecting them from scams and coaches that are calling themselves coaches without credentials.
No, 100%. I'm really a big fan of the CoachDog branding, and I think it's and hopefully as we're growing and building our reputation, hopefully that will be sort of known industry wide. And as I said, I think it really resonates with me, and I think it's a perfect analogy of sort of what we're doing at CoachDog and what we're trying to achieve as well. And it's interesting stats actually about the sort of the size of the industry and how many people are claiming to be coaches as well. And actually, when you look at the percentages, the skew is so small in terms of accredited coaches. And one thing I would say as well is that if we wanted to address the mass market, we would just open it up to everyone. But myself and Paul, we're very much ethic driven and want to raise the standards of the industry. So we've almost restricted ourselves by just looking at this approach of accredited coaches, but actually we want to be industry leading, and we want to sort of lead the way in terms of putting the right people at front and center, which is yourselves, the accredited coaches. So I think that's really important, and we certainly don't want to be bringing on our platform the so-called coaches who maybe don't have the accreditations. They've done a couple of courses, have watched a few YouTube videos, and they're claiming to be a coach, and it's dangerous to the industry, and we don't want to represent that. So I think what we're doing is around ethics and best practice, and lifting the standards of the industry. And I know, Paul, that's something you're massively passionate about.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love that you share that, because we could. 4.7 million, attractive market to many coach softwares that want to open out and tap into. But we're doing the right thing to increase the standards, ethically driven, and they're focused on protecting coach and client. I'm just going to bring in a few comments just before I hand it back over to you, Jay, to go to the next part of today's presentation. Adele's saying, love this. The industry needs CoachDog. And that's what we got. We're talking to people every time I talk to coaches. And one thing I think we haven't mentioned, Jamie, is it's not just about looking at the coaches that are accredited right now, but how do we actually use CoachDog to drive that behavior where coaches who don't have credentials actually want to get them, and are thinking about kind of accreditation and thinking about certification to get on to CoachDog. So it's definitely something the industry needs. Donna is saying, do you have to have a beard and a tash to fit in? You do, but don't worry, we provide fake ones. It's kind of like on A Life of Brian. If you've seen that, we'll give you when they go to the stone, and we'll give you a beard and you can pretend to fit in. Yeah. Jamie, any thoughts on that? I think that's good.
I just to the comment before to Adele's as well. I completely agree in terms of having accredited coaches on board, and I think we're really hoping to. Certainly one thing I would say as well, to your point earlier, Paul, was that now that I've been talking to family and friends about coaching as well, it's definitely been generating interest in the coaching industry, because it's not. I still think there's loads of growth in the industry, and I think it's definitely grown in popularity over the last decade or so, but certainly still not as mainstream and widespread, as it should be. And actually, through the work that I'm doing here at CoachDog, I've had a lot of family members, friends taking interest in the coaching industry from all angles, from seeking coaching to, oh, actually that's an interesting profession, I'd quite like to sort of look into that a bit more. And so it's that hopefully we can help achieve that as well, in terms of getting raising awareness and hopefully getting more people through the accredited path, and like I said, hopefully raise the standard of the industry, get more people involved. So yeah, really optimistic about what it's going to bring. I think there's somewhere in the region, is there about 130,000 accredited coaches at the moment, something like that. So I was reading some of the ICF studies on some of the numbers, and a quite interesting one as well is that I think the industry last year is worth about 5.3 billion or something like that. So it's a really fast. And we'd really like it if the majority of that goes to the accredited coaches, the people who've got the right credentials and things. So hopefully that's something we can help do as well, and put that in the hands of the right people. But no, 100% agree with everything you said so far, Paul, and definitely bear in mind the feedback on the beard and moustache as well, and we can we'll see what we can do in terms of providing obviously support around that.
No pressure not to shave it off now. No. And then the last point I just want to mention, Jamie, I don't know if you're pulling up a screen share, I don't know what you've got planned next, and let you later. It's just the Dalmatian is a friendly way. You've got to understand, coaches. I've raised a few questions around the Dalmatians, but you got to understand that our audience, when we post on Instagram and LinkedIn, is not just coaches. We want to drive and bring clients to you as well. And if you think back to some of the most successful brands, they have some kind of mascot, some kind of character that's involved. So the purpose of the Dalmatian is not just for the coaches, but also to attract the clients as a recognized and memorable brand. Back to you, Jamie.
Yeah, 100%. Well, what we've got next on the agenda is we're going to actually walk through CoachDog itself. I haven't got slides, but I'm going to use the screen sharing tool to go through the site, talk through some of the features, and walk through it that way. So I'll kick things off. Let me just get this up and running. We were testing beforehand, but you may have to bear with me whilst
let's see how the technology performs. And whilst Jimmy's just put up the presentation, I do want to invite you to, if you have any ideas, if you have any questions around what Jamie's shown you, put them in the comments box. We're here. This is going to be what we want CoachDog to be as well, is a platform that's not just designed by us, but by our coaches. We listen to their feedback. We want to improve the platform and the software. So any ideas or questions, drop them in the comments box.
Perfect. And Paul, is my screen visible there, your side?
Yep, we can see it. It's all up and running.
Perfect. Brilliant. So I'll kick off with onboarding as a coach and what that looks like. It's a simple process, but I'll talk through it. So I'm going to talk to this, then we'll jump on to the client experience and how they navigate. And then we'll also show the dashboard from a coach's perspective once they are a user as well. So I'll just use one of my test accounts just to do that. Ignore some of the features they are, as it's just a test account, so there might be some things missing, but that's run through. So it's quite a simple process. We've got to give you a quick run through the top navigation. So we've got find a coach, which we'll touch on shortly, some for coaches information, and then also some resources as well. We'll talk to that in a lot more detail as we go through, but this section is the join as a coach section. So I've just pre-filled some information just to save a bit of time. Again, this is all just fake information just for the purposes of the run through. But as you see, just some straightforward basic information to begin with, like any other software that you would use. Now, crucially, how we stand out above the crowd, in my view, is that we've got a verification process to vet your accreditations against the three main accrediting bodies that I'm aware of. Anyway, Paul, you jump in if there's any of the bodies we should be aware of. But we've got the EMCC, the European Mentoring Coaching Council, the ICF, as you're all well in International Coaching Federation, and Association for Coaching as well. Now, what we've built is a couple of different ways to verify depending on the setup of the accredited bodies. Now, some of you may be aware that the EMCC have recently updated some of their directories, so that does limit some of our options. But what I have done is added a method where you can actually upload your EMCC certificate, add the EIA number, add your certificate there, and that will upload as a document, and we'll scan that, verify the numbers, and just verify you are who you say you are, basically, and it meets the standard criteria format of that body. ICF is the same again with the with regards to uploading the certificate, but you can also put in the URL link as well, so linking straight to the directory and verifying that way, and it'll have your relevant verification IDs and numbers. And there's a little bit of a guide as well on how to do that and the formatting of that as well. So it needs to be with your unique URL, basically, so it'll pull in your name details, your accreditation details, and it will then be able to cross-check and verify against those databases. Association for Coaching is a similar process with the URL as well. So it's quite a straightforward process, but again, we are on hand to support with that as well if you do need any support with the onboarding process. And if there are any issues, let us know, and we can obviously look to resolve them. As we get more updates from the EMCC with regards to their directories being added, we can then look to update some of the methods to be able to cater to that as well once that's up and running. Before I move on from accreditation and onboarding, Paul, I don't know if there's any questions or if there's anything you wanted to add to that at all.
Yeah, no, just quickly, you mentioned the choice here is the EMCC ICF Association for Coaching. So these organizations that we are currently in talks with, they're the most globally recognized organizations in terms of coaching credentials. Now, we understand there are other organizations, there's national organizations. For example, you've got Comenza in South Africa, you've got there the WCAN, which is based in Ireland. There's a lot of other organizations. Now, if you're a member of that organization, reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. Let's look at your standards, your ethics, your procedures. If you think you should feature here on CoachDog as part of that verification, let's have a conversation. Our door is open for you.
Perfect, absolutely, and we can definitely make that happen, with the right conversation. So yeah, absolutely. So Any questions in the comments or anything, Paul, from an accreditation and onboarding perspective? If not, we'll move through the walkthrough and move on to the next section.
Yeah. So interesting question from Donna here, saying what happens if your accreditation expires?
Yeah. Do you want to touch on that, Paul, or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, I can touch on that. So
Yeah.
at the moment, what we're doing is, because we're quite new, we're still getting coaches on board, and it is something in the pipeline that we're thinking is, how do we vet, how do we look and check that accreditation is still in place? Now, one thing is, you're not going to be removed from the platform as it's set up if your accreditation expires, and we're still in that decision-making process where you've gone through the accreditation, you've proven that you've got the skills, you've proven you've got the experience. Do we want to remove you just because you haven't continued to go with your accreditation? Or do we go down the route that if you've generally stopped with your accreditation, it's expired, you haven't renewed it, then do we make the assumption that you don't want to continue with coaching? We assume that a lot of coaches, if they expire their accreditation, they're not renewing it, they're going to cease to exist as a coach or cease to practice as a coach. So we've got rules in our terms and conditions. You need to have that open, honest conversation about us with your practice if something major or fundamentally changes in your accreditation. Again, another important thing that we haven't touched upon, Jamie, there that links to this question is if you lose your accreditation. Under our terms and conditions, you have a duty and you must inform us if you were stripped of your accreditation from any of these organizations for malpractice or something that you've done against ethics. So this is covered in our terms and conditions.
Yeah, perfect. And one thing to add on that as well is that at the point of onboarding, the requirement is that you are an accredited coach and you hold a valid certificate. So that's obviously criteria for onboarding. And like Paul said, still working to get, we'll await further data in terms of, what we do, sort of following any expiration of any certificates or anything like that. And that will definitely come down to open conversations, like Paul said. So yeah, thanks for the question, Donna. That's a really good point. And thanks for covering that one off, Paul, as well. Is there anything else in the comments, Paul, to touch on, or are you happy to move on from here?
Nope, please proceed. Sorry, I forget you can't see me shake my head. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought I might have lost connection there, so I was a little bit.
No, I'm just shaking my head like a nod and dod, and no one can see. So yeah, back to you.
Yeah, perfect. So I suppose let's look at it from a client's perspective now. So, and then we can touch on the dashboard as well that you would have as a coach as well. And I think it makes more logical sense to talk it through that way. So, first of all, I'll just give a quick little look through of the site itself. So on the home screen, we've got a couple of different ways you can find a coach. You can fetch your coach through like a matching quiz, an algorithm that we've created, or you can actually just go straight into directories and search and filter directly through there. A little bit of further information on CoachDog and what it is, a little bit of an introduction video, some information on why you should use CoachDog. Of course, we've touched on this, but we only accept verified professionals. As part of the CoachDog setup, we have real client reviews that coaches will set up and request, and then we'll touch on that later on. And then we talked before on the algorithm matching and the directory itself as well to find the perfect fit for the client. We've got some reviews here of what some of our coaches are saying about CoachDog. Some really glowing reviews, and so some of our current crop of coaches are really enjoying the platform and getting a huge amount of value out of it, and want to see it grow, and can't wait to sort of to see us sort of become more industry recognized. And then just a little bit further down, just some further information as well. Standard stuff in here, but more or less the same information we touched on before. At the top, we've got a section for finding a coach. Like you said, that's the like we talked on before. That's the find a match quiz. Search directory, some information on support and why using us, why you would want to use us. For coaches, we've got some information, some pricing and details around free trials, and then a login portal, and then joining as a coach. And then we've also got some resources. We are definitely building this out, but this will be we'll touch on this a little bit later as well. We've got some free tools, worksheets, and resources for both coaches and clients, and then we've got some more premium content, which is available for the coaches on the platform as well. And again, that'll be geared towards helping you get the best out of the platform, best out of your coaching practice and things like that. And that will start to add more and more resources as we go as well. A couple of different ways you can get matched, loads of options. So we've got a button here, we've also got a button here, and then in the finder coach as well, so all lead you into the same place. So we've got a short questionnaire, and this can change over time as we build out the platform, get more coaches, get more feedback from coaches and from users of the platform who, clients looking for coaches. So there's this, it may not be set in stone, and may change in the future, but currently it's a straightforward 6-step questionnaire on how we can help you, what kind of coach you're looking for, basically. So I'll do some a quick run through of that of some answers in here. So we're looking for online coaching. We've got a price slider as well for different price points as well that you're looking to spend, a minimum and maximum slider, so you can play around with that. And then just pop that there, and then we've got no preference on the gender of our coach. We can add more languages if we want. For now, we'll just have English speaking coaches, and at the moment we won't add any additional certifications, but again, there's the option there if a client so chooses, and that will bring up a number of different coaches. And what we've done as well is that if coaches don't quite meet the full criteria, we'll show the criteria in terms of percentage scoring against and how they've weighted against your criteria on the questionnaire that you've done. So, and it gives a percentage match against what your criteria was, and also gives a bit of insight as to why they're a good match as well. So as you can see, it's brought up a number of different coaches by doing that questionnaire. But again, you can go back in and reattempt that as well. If you do prefer as well, you can look through the directory itself, and that will show you a number of different coaches that we have on the platform. Our platform is growing, and it is quite early days for us at the moment, so we expect the residency of the platform to build over time, and like I said, we're hoping that there'll be a lot more variety of coaches, and we'll have I suppose more coaches and potentially more filters that we can potentially build on once we have an idea of the different skills and capabilities and coaches that we've got on the platform. So that will definitely develop in time. But as you can see, just for navigation purposes, the directory will run you through basically and show you the full list of coaches, and then you can apply various different filters should you choose as well for different things, whether it be the speciality, the format. I won't go through all the filters, just purely because I think most people will be comfortable with using filters on other sites, but it will just bring up more matches based on some of your criteria, and it'll bring up obviously based on the percentage matches. So we've got some perfect matches here. Again, the criteria is quite limited just for the purposes of demonstration. So that's a quick walkthrough of searching and navigating. And again, what we will do is, as we grow and develop, we'll take on more feedback, and we'll try and improve the experience from both the client and coach perspective as well, to to make it as seamless as possible, and introduce and implement features that are requested where it's appropriate to do so. So this by all means may not be the final iteration in years to come, but it will certainly be, it's only a basis of where we're starting today, and the feedback so far has been positive on the whole. Before I move on from here, Paul, is there anything question wise that we've had come through, or anything you want to add as well?
No, there's no questions coming through right now, but I'm guessing people are just listening in and taking in the information. And I just want to say, you made a good point. We're early days, we're still growing. But I just want to let coaches know this is a brilliant opportunity. It's always good to jump on a platform early days. We're driving traffic, we're driving clients to the site, and it's best to be on a platform in early days than when it's filled with thousands and thousands of coaches, and that's going to be a problem that we're going to have to face and tackle in the future. And it's definitely on our plan the future years, Jay. So I hope you don't mind me just adding that there. I just think it's a really good opportunity for coaches to really think and test us out and get seen and get recognized. Like, why it's still early days.
No, 100%. No, 100% agree with that. And I think some of the, I think the coaches who've got on board early, will definitely benefit from that, in terms of, getting that early visibility and testing the platform early, helping us grow and shaping how we develop as a platform as well. So getting in early, I think, is always hesitance to adopt, to be an early adopter, to software and to products. But I think in this case, there's some really good benefits in having that increased visibility, and being a small group for now, really, you can have a little bit more influence on shaping how we develop as a platform. So I think there's definitely benefits in getting through the door early and getting involved. So we'll talk through later on the free trial and how to get involved there as well, which we'll touch on towards the end.
We've just had a few comments come through. Just got a few comments. I'm just going to put on the screen just for people to know. And I just want to say I love what you mentioned there about helping coaches helping us develop the platform. I think one thing that we need to put across, and that's really important for coaches who are watching this, is we don't just want to be in another directory where you just put your profile and you leave it sat there for years and you don't do nothing with. We really want to be active. We want to engage with our coaches. We want to shape this platform for you. And when we say you, we talk about professional accredited coaches. Now, a couple of comments that came up here, Jamie, and I'm sure we're going to cover this in some time, is Donna said it's great that you added reviews, testimonials for the coaches. I'm sure we're going to go into the reviews and testimonials as part of the demo in a small amount of time. Is that true?
Yeah.
Excellent. And then Adele is saying navigation of the site is so user friendly.
Yeah, and that we had that in mind. We wanted to be a simple to use platform. I've seen a lot of different software and platforms that are really bloated and complex, and I've over engineered a few pieces of software as well, and actually you want something nice and clean and user friendly. So I'm really glad that Adele and our current roster of coaches on the platform have shared that sentiment as well, that it is user friendly, easy to navigate. And again, when I've showed family and friends the site, to navigate as a prospective client, they've said the same thing. So that's great to hear. But we're always open to feedback and trying to simplify the journey as much as possible. What I'll do now, Paul, then, is if there's no other questions, I'll move on to the coaches dashboard and some best practice and things as well as part of that, and then we can talk on like the reviews and things as well from there. Is there anything else to talk about, or are you happy to move on?
No, yep, go ahead.
Right, what I'll do, let me just go in here now. Bear with me, because this is just a test profile, purely just for testing and illustration. But again, I'll walk you through what it looks like. I tell you what, that's before we do anything, let's just go into the directory and just take a look on a coach's profile. So I've just scrolled through. Let's just take a look at Donna's profile, for example. So this is what it looks like from a client perspective, navigating the site. So there's a banner photo there that you can upload of your choosing, profile photo, a share button as well to share with clients, friends, family, and whatnot. A bookmarking tool for clients who are navigating the site. One thing that we have implemented as well is that as a user, so a client, you don't need to set up an account to use CoachDog. The idea is that we wanted to make it as frictionless as possible. That may change in future, but for now we wanted to make it as frictionless as possible. And in which case we've added a bookmarking feature so they can go back and they can review any coaches that they've saved as well. So that it just gives them that option as well, so they can view all the coaches they've saved and recently viewed as well. Just so that if they've, in the future, if we've got a lot more coaches on the platform, they will then be able to go back and know who they've looked at and and choose the appropriate coach. Some social links and various different websites, emails, things like booking forms, calendar links, Google Meet links, things like that. We've integrated all of that, and we'll show you on the dashboard how you actually go about adding all of that that information as well. But basically, any way that a client can engage with you. We try to add as much into the UI without bloating it and making it look too I suppose too overpopulated. But also we've made it so that you can engage with clients in the way that is best for you in your practice. So whether you have a booking form or whether you have like a calendar booking system, we've tried to make it as flexible as we can. And effectively, CoachDog is an all-in-one sort of platform and I suppose place for you to advertise your coaching services, be transparent about your pricing, what you do, what you offer, what your qualifications are, all that kind of stuff, and shows your accreditation details as well, which gets verified through the onboarding process. But as you can see, information in the bio and information about yourself and your accreditations and things like that, and your levels of your areas of expertise, and certain acknowledgements, qualifications, awards, and things you've won as well. At the bottom here, we've got some reviews as well that clients can leave as well. So again, various different ones here that Donna's got from previous clients, and I'll show you one in the actual dashboard section around like navigating that as well. But you can see it's a really good way to house everything all in one place, that as a coach, rather than you send them to Instagram for one thing, your website for another thing, a booking form for another thing. It's an all-in-one integrated platform. So we're hoping that as a is a really beneficial, well, it's certainly a benefit to a coach for joining a platform, having everything all in one place, and it makes the experience for a user a lot cleaner as well and a lot easier. I don't know, Paul, have you got anything you want to add to that in terms of the profile itself, and anything to add before I go into the dashboard itself as well and some of the tools there?
Not just to expand on a couple of your points, I'll be very brief, Jamie. Just what you mentioned in terms of the ethic points, we are looking, in the purpose of this is to operationalize the ethical codes. So if you think of a few of our duties as accredited coaches, and I'm speaking to the professionals here, we have a duty in our EMCC Global Conduct to accurately and honestly represent our level of qualification. Coaching Minds does that. It showcases your level of accreditation with the EMCC in a snapshot on your profile. The other thing is, we talk about fair and transparent pricing. It's an opportunity for you to share and be transparent with your pricing. And what we've done, and the way Jamie structured this, is to really make it clean and neat. One thing that we're bad, if we're honest with ourselves as coaches, one thing we're bad at doing is we talk too much about ourselves. Clients and potential clients don't want to read War and Peace. So we've structured it so we're getting snapshots of what you do, and they can choose what they want to know in terms of more information by your website, by your LinkedIn, by your booking form. So we've really given thought and structure to making it a simple snapshot of you as a coach and your professionalism. I think, Jamie, one thing we did miss out that Donna didn't have was also the welcome video. The other thing is, so we do have a feature where you can actually embed a welcome video, and we recommend not to do it for longer than 2 minutes. I've just put mine out there for testing. So if anybody who's a bit of a clever cog says, Paul, you've done yours for about 7 minutes, mine was just a test. But I would recommend no longer than 2 minutes, but it's a beautiful way for you to introduce yourself and to connect with potential clients that are finding you through CoachDog.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll touch on it in this dashboard view as well, just around all the different features and tools as well.
Sorry.
And the behind this. No, of course, that's it's a valid point. Now, you may need to ignore some things that are locked out here. This is purely just a test profile and isn't an active paying user. So there are some features that are locked out. So I'll have to talk over those. I'll quickly touch on analytics as well before going into the profile in more detail. Apologies, I can't show you on the screen at the moment. But when you do set up your profile, basically there are we have built in some analytics which tracks the usage of your your page. So just basic at the moment, just shows you the views on your page, the clicks through to some of your different links like social media and things like that. So I definitely recommend having a look at that breakdown, and I want definitely when we're more established as well, and that might give you some indication of whether your profile is optimized or not as well. which we can definitely talk to later on as well. And Paul's mentioned some aspects of that as well, in terms of making it as as concise as possible, adding the video. But that's a good indication as well, as if you've set up your profile well, and it's getting people clicking through. But just to move forward from the analytics, so within the dashboard, there's some initial steps to get started, or a little checklist just to of activity to do. So completing your bio, adding scheduling links and social links, various different things, sharing your profile, adding profile picture, things like that. Some key steps. As I said, this is just a test profile, so it doesn't have a lot of things populated. But again, there's a tool here to upload photos, upload a banner photo, add your name, your bio, add in a video as well. So again, it's just an optional step, but this will populate as well. And we'll show you Paul's profile with the video on as well, to show you what that looks like when it is populated. Languages, gender, I won't go through in too much detail, but all of these are collapsible as well. So if you're quite comfortable, you've got everything on the bio, you can move forward and have a look at your links and your URLs. So this is your shareable URL, so you can customize this as well, to make it a little bit more user friendly, so it's not got a load of random characters in there. So it's definitely something to make use of in the future when you do join, or if you're already a user. This is, I think, for me, one of the key features, which is around adding your different social links and web links. So, call booking links. And if there is any tools, applications that we're missing off here, please let us know, and we'll look to try and add where appropriate to do so, especially if it is something that's really key. Hopefully we've captured more or less most of the use cases and scenarios, but call booking links, Google Calendar, Microsoft Bookings, Calendly, things like that, inquiry forms, social media links, website links, contact details, email, phone number, any other custom links as well that you would like to add. And then we've got some of the matching criteria as well. So this is some of the areas of coaching you identify with. So whether that be entrepreneurship, career development, things like that, personal life, you can put that in, and that will help with the matching algorithms, how you prefer to coach, whether that be in person, online, what your preferred currency is based on your location, your hourly rate. And then there's just some further information around some additional credentials you may have, qualifications, and then any areas of expertise as well, and then acknowledgements and awards as well. So again, some of these are just for test purposes, but you can see there's numerous different things you can add there. Again, standard stuff, information about your subscription, and it just shows you how to update in. It obviously tells you you've got an active plan, how to go about changing your billing cycle, and payment method and things like that. Then moving on to reviews as well. So we've got a dashboard here to manage the reviews as well. So anything that does come through, you're able to leave comments and respond accordingly. And then just account details as well, which I won't touch on that, but again, that's just standard stuff. And also with the ability there to delete your profile should you want to in the future as well, as per your right to do so. And then finally, just touching on, I suppose we do want to touch on resources as well. I know we've got about 10 minutes left, so I just wanted to quickly show the video as well, to give you an illustration of how that works. So just clicking on Paul's profile just to show you how that works. So as you can see, the introduction video is embedded in. Play that through YouTube, and that just gives an introduction to who you are and your services. Like Paul said, that isn't optimized from his side point of view. It's more just to test the features itself and the adding of the video. I suppose I'll pause for some thought there, and any questions, Paul, because there may be some some comments, or maybe some points you want to add there as well. happy for you to jump in.
Excellent. No, so we've got a thank you for that, Jay. That was really useful. I think we covered everything in a nutshell, which is brilliant. We got a comment from Donna here that said, "I love that I could reply to the person who gave the review." And I think an important point just to add on to that, Jay, with reviews is we've it's an honest and transparent reviews. We've given very limited control to the coaches to accept or decline reviews. They can be flagged if they are inappropriate or something that isn't warranted, but we've limited the control for transparency, and you can comment back and say thank you. So thank you for flagging that up, Donna. Jamie, is there anything you want to share with regards to the reviews on the back of what Donna mentioned there?
Just one thing to add there. Like you said, Paul, we've tried to find that balance of fairness and transparency, and giving the right level of control to coaches. But if in the event that you do get a review which does look like clear spam, then 100% there's the opportunity to flag that, and that will come to ourselves from an admin perspective, and we can review that. And if we can see that's clear spam, we can remove that on your behalf. Again, we're not expecting that to be the case, but we've built that capability in just in case. But again, at least it gives us the option to do something if you were to get an unfair review or something that would be marked as spam. There's obviously got to draw a line in terms of, is it a legitimate bad review for for services, and obviously we'll have to that will be very much individual conversations, and I'm sure, Paul, something you'd be keen to obviously have the conversation with the coach on as well and try and understand in a bit more depth. So yeah, 100%. If we get to that a situation like that, we can definitely address it as it comes. We're hoping that won't be the case, but definitely something we'll bear in mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the last point for me, Jay, before I pass it over to you for the coaching resources, is just going back to the URL. So if you are tuned in and you are on CoachDog, please get your URL in quite early, because you can only have the URL once. So when coaches start to join that have similar names, similar thoughts, you only have one URL for our platform. So get in there, put / Donna Burfield / Adele Jacobs / Paul Smith. Get your URL booked in.
Perfect. And then finally, just touching on some of the resources that we've been adding as well. So as part of, I suppose one thing we want to do is we want to try and drive, clients or people interested in coaching to the platform for more information. So we're trying to add useful tools and resources for the general user, the general client, depending on their stage of awareness with coaching, but then also some useful tools for coaches as well. So we're getting a combination of different content which we'll offer for free, and hopefully this will drive more interest in the platform as well. But for example, we've put information on how to find a certified and verified coach, a little bit about the coaching industry, what verification and certification means, and yeah, just some really useful information. And we'll continue to add more detail like this to essentially bring more people to the platform who are interested in coaching. We'll come upon Google search engine results, and they'll be driven to the platform for information, and then they might have a poke around, and then actually come across some of your profiles, and actually could lead to hopefully some relationships and through client work. So that we definitely want to add value to the coaching community, and drive people to the site as well, and hopefully that will be beneficial all around to everyone. We've not quite added anything yet, but we are planning to add some more premium resources, which will be very much tailored to optimizing your profile, and it'd be various different things, written, video resources. I know, Paul, there's certain plans, and I know certain things that you've got in the pipeline and you're thinking about. So I don't want to give too much away, but is there anything you want to add to the resources part of the call at all? Anything you want to add there, or is it very much just a case of that's still being worked through at the moment?
No. Yeah, that kind of sits with me. I think that's my area. So we need to think. We're considering what's going to be the best resource, what's going to help you. The purpose of CoachDog is to help you be seen. So we need to think about the resources and the structure to help you enhance your practice and to be found by coaches. And one thing that is in the pipeline that I believe we can probably launch in Q3 this year is a mini course, a small course that goes through and guides you through optimizing your profile, thinking about how you are putting yourself out there to potential clients. Because sometimes we've got to understand that coaches aren't, it's not our best quality in terms of selling ourselves to others. So we're going to be putting a course on as part of your membership at CoachDog to help guide that so you can be seen by clients.
Perfect. I just want to call out to any coaches who are on the platform as well. I can see that we're getting reviews through already, which is absolutely fantastic, and the reviews are brilliant and really speak highly of the platform. So I can't thank you enough for submitting those and for sharing your feedback. There is the opportunity to leave a review if you scroll down, or we have added it's not showing up on this one with it being a test profile, but in the top bar as well, there is an option to add a review as well. So please do, where prompted or where you feel you've had enough experience on the platform, definitely leave a review and share your experiences, because we'd really love that feedback, and it hopefully will share that experience shared with others will encourage more coaches to join and become a part of this growing community. But one thing I want to add as well, now I'm not going to go too much into the plans side of things, but basically one of the great things and one of the things we want to do to remove friction as a coach was to implement a generous free trial and give you an opportunity to test the platform without taking a risk. So what we have done, and again, ignore this because this is based on, let me just log out so that you can see how it looks if you were just to view this as a new user. So everybody who joins the platform is eligible for a 30-day free trial. The great thing is you don't need to put any card details in. That will so that if you were to forget about this for whatever reason, there's no way you could be charged. It's only after the fact you can then choose whether you upgrade, and that's a proactive decision that you would make based on your experience with the platform. So it gives you a really good opportunity to try and test the platform, build your profile properly, and really engage with it. That's why we thought 30 days seemed reasonable. And I know a lot of platforms might only offer 7 or 14 days. We wanted to give you time to really get a feel for the platform and get and really sort of I suppose add all your information and build out your profile in as much detail as you could. So 30 days is the standard free trial, no payment details required, and there's no pressure. All we would say is that if for whatever reason you don't want to continue with the platform, any feedback you can offer us would be really appreciated, so that we can continue to improve the product and take on board anything that you feel isn't working well. But I think at this stage, I think it is just a case of, I don't know if you'd agree with this, Paul, but it is very much just we're in the early stages of awareness of the platform. So the general feedback we're getting isn't one of the coaches aren't happy to stay on the platform. It's just making sure that more coaches know about it and raising awareness at this stage.
Oh, we've seemed to have lost Jamie. But just to add on to what Jamie was saying, so we're at the stage where we're just sharing more awareness of the platform. So I think 30 days is the right amount. If we give you 7 days, we all live busy lives right now. 7 days, it's not enough time for you to build your profile, to start to think about how you build your profile. We've got Jimmy back, so you can pick up from there. So I was just picking up where you left off in terms of the awareness, and I was just explaining how 30 days is a lot better than 7 or 14, because it really gives them an opportunity to, as you mentioned, explore and get into the depth of the platform. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you need to share? Was there anything that we missed off the back of the demonstration, or should we just do some closing discussion here?
I don't think so. I think we've more or less covered everything. I think we've covered it in a good amount of detail. So yeah, I'm more than happy to open the floor really and see if there's any questions or anything you want to add, Paul, as well, to anything that I've discussed.
No, I think you covered everything really wonderfully in just the right amount of detail, and we're coming up to right on time, which is fantastic. If you do have questions, please ask them. This is your opportunity to put them in the comments box. Jimmy, one thing, I don't know if we just want to mention it briefly. We're still ironing out the idea, but it will be coming. One thing we're thinking of doing here at Coaching Minds, which might excite at CoachDog, I'm in Coaching Minds mode. Apologies, Jamie. At CoachDog, one of the things we're thinking about doing here at CoachDog is, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, Jamie, but hopefully it might excite a couple of coaches, but we are looking to launch a podcast this year to really host some of our coaches. And it's going to be less of a discussion like we do. So we don't want to clash with the Coach Cast, what we do at Coaching Minds. We really want to showcase our coaches and have honest discussions with our coaches, put those who are really making a difference out there, who want to talk about kind of getting that human connection as well to the coach, Jamie. Like I said, we're still kind of mapping it out and iron out what that's going to look like. But I think it's going to be something that's going to be exciting for coaches in the future as well, to be able to feature on our podcast.
Yeah, 100%, and yeah, and again, I suppose the benefit is we want to spotlight, the coaches we've got on the platform, and it's another reason, to join again is that we want to spotlight you, really share your story. We're still building out what that's going to look like, and a lot of that detail still needs to be defined, but 100% we want to make sure that we're raising as much awareness about you as a coach as well, being on the platform. And I suppose getting on board early, it just gives you that more visibility as we get going with the podcast. You'll be sort of lined up to be hopefully one of the early guests, and it just gives you that spotlight and opportunity to share your story. So, and obviously if we grow to a significant level, it'd be harder to get on the podcast and there might be more demand.
Exactly.
So is a reason, it's a good opportunity to get in on the ground floor now whilst we're just starting to build. So yeah, like I said, still details to be ironed out there and no timelines, but feel free to reach out to myself and Paul if you'd be interested in getting involved in that. And we'll definitely get you added to our list and give you details when we've got them.
Yeah, please do reach out. We see Donna saying yes, so she's doing some clapping. And don't worry, you don't need to have a beard and a tash to be part of the podcast either. You can join us, don't worry. But yeah, as Jimmy mentioned, we're still ironing that out, but it's going to be exciting. And do please, as Jimmy mentioned, it's about spotlighting you. And as we grow, it's going to be more difficult to really now hunt down and narrow down to who we want to feature. It's going to be more difficult as we've got more coaches on board. So, Jamie, the comment section and the questions are looking a bit scarce for today. We've had some good comments and questions come through, but I think that's due to a really comprehensive walkthrough of the platform. Is there any final words you'd like to leave the audience for today? And we'll bring the session to a close.
One thing I'd say is that if you do have any questions about the platform or want to know anything else, just reach out to myself and Paul. We'll more than happy to give you as much information as possible and help you, through the journey and hopefully get you onboarded. But no, really just thanking all of the coaches who are involved so far, everyone who's going to get involved or on the back watches this to and engages with the platform. I really appreciate that. And whatever, if you do join or you maybe look at it from like a user's perspective, feel free to give us some feedback as well, and we're open to feedback and listening to that and to improve the product. I think, Paul, I don't want to speak for yourself, but I think our goal is to create, if not the best, one of the best platforms in this space, and to be industry leading, stand out for the right reasons, showcasing accreditations. We're not open to everybody. It is just, you've got to have the right accreditations, and hopefully, we build our reputation on that, and you come along with the journey with us and grow with us. And like I said, getting in early will hopefully you'll be able to help shape the product, and also sort of grow with us as well and get that earlier visibility, like the podcast, leaving reviews again, that will showcase who you are and get people engaging with your profile as well on CoachDog. So again, it's all the more reason to get involved early. But like I said, any feedback on a free trial, or if you do decide to join us on a paid basis, that'd be great. But like I said, I just look forward to getting more coaches on board and seeing CoachDog grow. Any final comments from you, Paul?
No, I think you beautifully summed that up, Jamie. I don't want to echo or repeat what you shared. The only thing I would add is, if you are interested, if you're watching this on the replay or you're live, you want to explore CoachDog, just scan the QR code in the top left corner, screenshot it. If you're on your phone, you can come back and go from the QR code from a screenshot and check us out. Ask your questions, as Jamie mentioned. Give us your feedback. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's tuned in live, everybody who's watching on the replay, Donna, Adele, and everybody else who put in their comments. And Jamie, I just want to say a huge thank you to you for pulling this together and doing all the legwork in today's session to take us through a wonderful demonstration of the platform. So thank you for your time. I know you're super busy, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, not at all. It's been a pleasure to share with everyone, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully more coaches join and come on board, and more people use the site as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing us grow. So, thanks for the opportunity, Paul, to present this, and yeah, thank you for all the questions as well, Donna, Adele, and everybody in the comments who's been dropping questions. It's been really really useful insights. Hopefully that other coaches will get as well from listening in.
No, excellent. No, it's exciting times. We will grow. We will set ourselves apart, and I'm really looking forward to the future of CoachDog. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful
Yeah,
rest of
thanks
your
very much.
evening, day, world, wherever you are in the world right now. Speak to you all very soon. Thanks.
Speak to you soon. Bye.